by rising higher in response to escalating energy expenses. Now, the latest data also saw the stock market surrendering heavily from opening bell Thursday. Our Lee Kyung-eun reports.
With the U.S. economy hit hard by inflation, wholesale prices in the country climbed to a new record level last month. The U.S. Labor Department reported on Thursday that the U.S. Producer Price Index, a measure of price changes before goods are sold to a consumer, rose 11.3% in June from a year ago. The figure is close to the record 11.6% posted in March following the outbreak of war in Ukraine. It also marks a 1.1% on-month gain. Data shows that almost 90% of the rise came from a 10% increase in energy costs amid surging oil and natural gas prices. Excluding energy, food, and trade service prices that heavily fluctuate under external factors, the so-called core PPI rose 6.4%, dipping slightly from May. And amid soaring producer prices, U.S. stocks plummeted from the opening bell on Thursday. The blue chip Dow was down 1.97%, the S&P 500 fell 1.88%, and the tech-heavy Nasdaq 1.71%. This comes after consumer prices were reported to have soared 9.1% on-year in June, the biggest reading in 4 decades. And because a higher producer price index leads to a higher consumer price index, the CPI in July is expected to be even greater than in June. And that's attracting more attention to the upcoming FOMC meeting on July 26th to 27th, where another aggressive rate hike could be approved. The Fed raised the key interest rate by a giant step, 0.75 percentage points in June, the largest on-month increase in nearly 3 decades.
Hit hard by inflation, wholesale prices in the country have climbed to a near record level last month. The US Labor Department reported Thursday that the US Producer Price Index, a measure of price changes before goods are sold to a consumer, rose 11.3% in June from a year ago. The figure is close to the record 11.6% recorded in March following the outbreak of war in Ukraine. Data shows that almost 90% of the rise came from a 10% increase in energy costs amid surging oil and natural gas prices. This comes just a day after the government reported a 9.1% surge in Consumer Price Index, the biggest since 1980.
All right, well, it is that time of year again. Families are hitting the stores hunting for the best bargains on backpacks, notebooks, their child's favorite cartoon character on a lunchbox. Well, in a new report out from Deloitte, inflation is driving this year's spending up another 8%. Let's unpack this with Rod Sides. He's the global leader of Deloitte Insights. It's great to see. When I look at this survey, my big question is, obviously, we're in the face of higher inflation. It still seems, though, like parents are willing to spend. What was your big takeaway from this survey?
Yeah, absolutely. What we found is that parents are looking to make sure they make the back-to-school season really work for them. They're dipping into savings. Savings rates actually down a little bit as we go. People are looking at things like buy now, pay later. And so they really are trying to step up on behalf of the kids as they go into this back to school season. So again, we're seeing about an 8% growth in K-12 and about 10% in college. So parents are stretching beyond their means in a lot of cases.
The number of Americans seeking unemployment benefits for the first time is on a rapid rise, reaching 244,000 in the week ending July 9th. Now, the latest figure marks a near an 8-month high after 9,000 additional claims were added last week. However, in terms of the total number of Americans collecting unemployment benefits for the week ending July 2nd, the figure fell by 41,000 on week, with numbers hovering near 50-year lows. Pundits are linking this finding to the Labor Department's report last week that 372,000 jobs were added in June. The U.S. unemployment rate currently stands at 3.6%.